Okay, everybody. Welcome to the last video in my collection and declutter series for 2023, and this is my eyeshadow palettes. I currently have 63 eyeshadow palettes. I'm hoping to get that down. I actually, at one point, in the spring, only had like 35 palettes, I think. So my collection has doubled in less than 6 months, which is, probably not great, but I am hoping to maybe move some things out of my collection so that there's room for new stuff, but also so that I can get use out of what I actually have and what I actually like. So I am going to, we're going to go ahead and get started. I do have a couple caveats. One, don't ask me to send you anything if you can buy it. My youngest sister is getting into makeup. She's starting to experiment with eyeshadow and things. So any eyeshadow palettes I get rid of, I am going to give to her as a Christmas present. So all of the eyeshadow I will be decluttering today is already spoken for. And two, if I declutter something that you really like, that's great. For whatever reason, it didn't work for me, or I just felt like my sister could get more use out of it than I could, that I have so much stuff and only one set of eyes, and I do not wear makeup every day. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to start with a stack that is a fairly easy thing for me, and so this is the Recently De-Influenced palette from Bella Beauty Bar, and I am going to be depotting this, so that's like halfway a declutter, but not all of the way. And I will also be depotting the Bella Beauty Bar Strange and Unusual palette, and I will be combining these two palettes together. So technically this is a declutter of one and a keep of one, so that is one declutter, kind of. In here, this is my Diva Rune. I think this is the Moth and the Moon. Yeah, the Moth and the Moon palette. And I already depotted this, but I am going to put other eyeshadows in here. My single eyeshadow collection came right before this one, and in it, I talked about how I kind of wanted to, in the new year, start doing build your own palettes and more Franken paletting. Maybe on video, and I think this will be my first project in the new year, so this is like a keep, kind of. And then we have the Bad Witch palette, and I am keeping this one. I actually really love this one, and it's fairly new to my collection. The same with the Wicked Widow Beauty palettes. This is the Edward Scissorhands 2. I have only had this palette for a few months and I really enjoy it so far. And then I just got this one about a month ago. This is the Wicked Widow Resurrection palette, and I love this one as well. I haven't used it very much yet, but I have used this row, or these two rows, and I really, really like them. And I like Wicked Widow's formula, what I've used of it so far, so I will be keeping this one. Let's do, no, that will be hard. Let's do something easy. This is my Shroud palettes. This is the It's Freakin' Bats, which is a collab with Batty Bean. She used to be Butte Bean here on YouTube. That's this one. This is my very favorite palette in my collection, and Zero is my very favorite eyeshadow shade of all time. So this is a keep. That's an easy keep. The same with the Moonfall. I love this palette. The purples in here are beautiful. So are the blues and the greens. I have considered switching these red shades out for different shades, but I haven't done that yet, obviously. And then the Halloween palette, which is also a collab with Batty Bean. I don't like this palette as much as the others, but I do like how unique this color story is, so I will be keeping this one as well. And then these from Fantasy Cosmetica, I have the Druid the Rogue and the Sorcerer palette. And I'm going to keep the Sorcerer and the Rogue. I really like both of these two, and these again are fairly new to my collection. But the Druid, I am going to declutter this, but I'm going to declutter it to depot it, and I'm going to keep this packaging and put other eyeshadows on it. It's not that anything is bad with these. I just don't like these as much as I do the Formula and their other two palettes, and it's not... I have other green and brown eyeshadow palettes. I don't need another one when that's not a color story I wear very often, but especially when I don't prefer the shades of green in this particular palette. So this is a declutter. Okay, this is a declutter. These are the Shine by SD, X Bizarre Volta and M Jones 5018 collab. These are 12 multi-chromes, but these aren't really multi-chromes. And I've had these for a couple of years now. I don't use them. I don't remember to reach for them. And as far as this palette goes, I don't like any of these. These are not multi-chromes. And they're not a very good shimmer formula. Now these ones are more multi-chromes, but I've done, I think, a swatch video with these before, and all of these are the same. Like, all of these shades are the same. They have the same shifts, they have the same base tones. Like, these two reds are the same, all of these purples are the same, these two are the same. It's just this one's flakier and this one's smoother. I mean, there's nothing special about these, and I spent like almost $200 if not more than that to get these, and I have shadows in my single collection and in some of these palettes that are way more special than these, so I'm just gonna go ahead and declutter both of those as well. And those are a true declutter, like out of my collection, no caveat. These two are from Gloss Gods. This was my favorite discovery of this year, and these are, this is the Color of Rain palette, and this is an all multi-chrome palette, minus this matte black. And then same with this one. This is an all multi-chrome and like special shade palette, and I love both of these. I actually do reach for these fairly often, especially this one. This is Gal on the Moon, and the Color of Rain I reach for quite a lot, as inner corner shades, as topper shades for the lower lash line, just to do a look all by themselves. I recently cleaned all my eyeshadow brushes, and it took them way too long to dry, and so for a couple of days I just used these on my eyes, since I can just put them on with my finger really easy. And this one I like too. These are kind of like darker multi-chromes, and some of these are just like straight shimmers, but they're super beautiful, super textured. I love them, and I will be looking at more things from Gloss Gods, so I am keeping those two. Okay, maybe here. So here we have my big Odin's Eye palettes. I have this one, which is the Hella. This was a collab with Angelica Nyqvist, I believe the beginning of last year. And until I didn't use this palette for almost a full year, except for River. And River was like my most favorite eyeshadow in my collection, but I don't even remember the last time I reached for it. Or this palette in general. Like, I did do a green look with it, and I think I've done a pink look within the last few months. But, like, River is my very favorite shade, or was. And yet, I don't know. I hate to get rid of this palette since it was special edition, or limited edition. But at the same time, I don't like it that much. And, yeah, I don't know, like, this is so hard pan and dried up. It's just not special like it was. So I think I am actually going to declutter this. Yeah, I'm going to declutter that. And these are my two Christmas Odin's Eye palettes. So this is the Christmas Eve. This is actually my favorite of the two. I did recently do a video with these again. Ooh, I just shoved my finger all in that. Oopsies. And I still like these palettes as much as I did when I got them last year. I just feel like these are the most beautiful palettes Odin's Eye has done in a long time. And this is their very best formula that they've ever done. Like, I have no complaints about any of the shadows in this palette. I think they're all beautiful, usable. I like the packaging. I think that's good, so I'm going to keep that. And the same with the Merry Christmas. This isn't a color story I use quite as much, but I actually do use it a ton, especially like these three shimmers. You can see how much I've dug into those. I have quite the dip. They're both kind of like this putty texture that reminds me of like the Super Shocks from ColourPop. Santa Star is super flaky and glitzy and beautiful. I just love it. I like this Hot Cocoa shade, which is kind of like this dark, like burgundy, and it's beautiful. I really do like, again, the formula in this palette is just immaculate. If you can still get your hands on these, I do recommend them. I think they're probably sold out again by now, but I do like these. These are my very favorite of Odin's Eye. I wish they did this with every single one of their palettes. This is the Norns palette from Odin's Eye, and this was my very favorite palette from them for a long time, just because of how unique it is, how special these four shades were when it first came out. This shade Optimism is like my very favorite eyeshadow, or it was in my collection. It's not really working the best now. Now, I have seen where they've redone this with like their square pans, and I actually do prefer that packaging. So what I think I'm going to do is buy the new one and get rid of this one. So I'm going to keep this until, well, you know what? I don't even know that I'll miss it. I'm going to declutter this one, and if I miss it, I'll buy the new one. And if I don't miss it, I guess it's just gone. So I'm going to declutter this. Wow. Okay. Excellent. Was not expecting that. So then this is my Kai Love palette. This is the Art Nouveau. They used to be Muse Beauty, then they turned into Kai Love, and now they are no more. They don't exist as a brand anymore, which is quite sad because they were my very favorite brand. But this is their Art Nouveau palette. This is a perfect rainbow with a splash of neutral in it, and I'm going to keep this. I love this. This has the most unique, like, undertones for colors, like this purple, this indigo, this blue, these greens, even this like orange and red. I love the undertone, like the specific hue of these colors is absolutely breathtaking to me. So I am going to keep this palette. I like this formula. It might not be around anymore, but you know, my palette's still kicking, so it's going to be okay. And this is the Muse Beauty Rococo palette. This is the big one. And I also really like this one. This isn't the original one. These two shades used to be orange, peachy colors, and these are two shades actually that I put in from my Kaleidos 6 pans, I think. I think this one is the turquoise from the Astro turquoise, and this is a purple from the Lunar Lavender palette, the darker purple, I think, actually. I love this. I love these pastel shades. I love these specific colors of gold used in this. I think they're beautiful. I'm going to keep this for a little bit longer, I think. And then here are the rest of my Muse / Kai Love palettes. This is the Van Gogh. This is the most perfect palette. I love Starry Night. It is my very favorite painting. Van Gogh. Impressionism is my very favorite, like, art movement, and Van Gogh is my very favorite artist, and I love a lot of his paintings. Starry Night Over the Rhine is actually my favorite, but I do like his most well-known Starry Night, which is what this one's based off of, and I love how unique and beautiful and well put together this 9 pan is, and I want to keep it. The same with the Triumph of Venus. These two shades actually I put in myself. These also were like 2 peachy tone shades I was never going to use, and so these are singles. I think both of them from Terra Moons, but I'm not positive anymore. I'm going to keep this one. I love Depths. That is like the perfect dark cool toned coffee brown. Tempestuous is this beautiful like jean blue. I love it. And here are my Les Jardin palettes. This is the original Les Jardin palette, and this is like the brighter, poppier one. I actually, again, Franken paletted it. These 4 shades I took out. I think this original one broke, and so I had some single shades. This matte and these 2 shimmers, no, this shimmer and this matte are from the Kaleidos Lunar Lavender. This is from the Pizza Kitty palette. I can never remember the brand. Sugar Drizzle, maybe. And then this is Doll Face from Terra Moons. And then, of course, these others are the original. I'm going to keep this as well. I love that one for spring. Same with the Les Jardin Volume 2. These 3 shades are from the Pizza Kitty palette. And the rest are just from this palette. I'm keeping that one. Okay. What to do? Okay, so this one's hard because I do love this palette. This is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. I have loved this palette for years, but I think I'm ready to let it go. I just don't use it very often. This topper shade, Nebula, was stunning, and I think I just have this in other palettes. These shimmers are stunning. This still works great. I've had this, like, I got this when it originally launched, like, 3 or 4 years ago now. It's just a stunning palette. It's beautiful, but I do think I'm ready to pass it along and let somebody else enjoy it. The Fairy Tale Fairies palette, this is like the perfect color story in my opinion. I just love it. If you could take this green row out, I would love it even more. And I think that I am going to take those out at some point and put other colors in here, but for now, mine looks like this. And I love it. I love the shades of green and blue in here. I love the shimmers, these 4 in particular. I love the shade of purple. It's beautiful. I am keeping it. This is my Inslee Rain Flower Moon palette. I don't know why I still have the sleeve, but I do. And I Franken paletted this. I do have a video of it up. Oh, that's the line from the mirror. But yeah, I put these 3 shades in. Those were originally matte shades that I took out. Those videos are on my channel if you're interested. I actually have not reached for this palette since I did a look after I Franken paletted it, and I have not done a look with it since, so I don't know. Like, I'm not going to declutter it because I haven't had it very long, and these 3 Cleona shadows were fairly expensive, so I'm not going to declutter this palette with those shadows in it just yet. But yeah, I'm going to keep this and see if I can't get some use out of it because I paid money for it and spent a lot of time doing things. This is the Inslee Rain Midwinter Dream palette. Get that. Ugh. This is my favorite palette in my collection. I love this. This is my perfect color story. I just think it's beautiful. Inslee Rain is fairly problematic. That has kind of come to light. But I still love this palette. I still have it. I'm not going to declutter it. I'm not going to buy anything else from Inslee Rain, but I do love this palette, so I am going to keep it. This one's kind of hard because these Revolution, Makeup Revolution London palettes were a gift from my cousin. This is the Patricia Bright palette. And I don't think I've reached for this one time. I'm not going to use these 2 glitters. I haven't even tried it out yet, so I don't know. Okay, let me look at this. And then this is the Creator Revolution palette. These are just fairly big palettes. I don't have a lot of space, and I have a lot of big, colorful palettes. So I don't know. I think my sister will like these, and so I think I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of these and give them to my sister, just because I think that's the decision I'm making. So I'm gonna declutter both of those as well. Let's see. Something easy. These are my ColourPop and Star Wars collab palettes. This is the Child palette. It looks like this. This is my green and brown palette. When I talked about decluttering the Druid, I specifically had in mind that I like this palette more. So I'm going to keep that one. This is the Mandalorian. This is my favorite cool toned neutral palette. Like, this is my favorite neutral palette in my collection, I think. I just love the undertones, specifically of these two mattes. I love the shimmers. I even like this kind of like peachy, dusty tone. I think it's beautiful. This is the Darth Vader palette. I've talked about this at length. I also really like these two mattes. I like these two shimmers a lot. I like this one. Okay. This gray is good. I even like this dark burgundy shade. So yeah, I'm going to keep this one as well. I'm keeping this one. This is a C30 palette. Am I ever going to use it? Probs not. I did use it one time. I hated the look. I do not look good in golden, yellowy gold tones. I do like this color though. But like golden yellow tones do not look good on me. They make me look like I have jaundice and that I am sick. So I'm going to keep this one because it's ColourPop. And this is probably the only palette I'm going to keep just because of the IP. And then this Star Wars palette. I also really like this one. Do I want to keep it though? I think I'm going to keep it another year because I have used it, and this silver is just the most stunning, like mercurial liquid silver shade, and like the texture of it is just stunning. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and keep that as well. Get those out of the way. Move them over there. Okay. Let's do these next. These are my Pat McGrath Mothership palettes. I have 4. This one is the first one. I believe this is Sublime. This is their cool toned one with the pop of blue. I don't use these very often, but when I do use them. So I'm gonna keep this one. This is the Midnight Sun. I believe this is Mothership 7. I do love this one. This is the one I lusted after for so long. Like, this is why I bought Pat McGrath palettes, is because I just thought this color story was so beautiful and unique. And I hate to get rid of it, so I think I'm going to keep it. And I do love this shade. But this shade is in the Divine Rose that I also have. But I'm going to keep it, I think. Yeah, I paid a lot of money for these. I'm going to keep it. This is the Divine Rose, which I think is number 5. I think Mothership 5, maybe. I don't know. I'm getting all confused now. I know for sure that this one is 1. I think this one's 7. Yeah, I don't know. This is the Divine Rose, though. The original Divine Rose, not the Divine Rose 2. I love this palette a lot. I use it a lot. This is my very favorite, like, Dusty Rose matte shade. I love the shimmer, of course. Like, you can see, I've just used the absolute shit out of it. This is the one, when other people ask me to do their makeup, this is the palette I use almost all of the time. It's just beautiful, and I get a perfect look out of it every time, whether I'm using it on myself or somebody else, so I'm going to keep this one as well. And then this is the newest palette in my collection. I got it at the beginning of this year, and this is the Moonlit Seduction, and this was a gift. I did not pay for this, and I'm going to keep it. I think this is actually my favorite Pat McGrath palette I have, which is kind of stunning, because, like, surprising, because it doesn't have any of the baked Jolet, like, special shades, but I actually prefer these, whatever these are, to those shimmers. Like, this shade, Astral Solstice, that I love so much, is the exception. But, like, these are just stunningly beautiful. I really like this smoky, like, gray here. I even like this one. I've used this as a face highlighter several times. I just really like this one, and I'm going to keep it. So, yeah, I am keeping all 4 of my Pat McGrath palettes another year. Surprising? No one's surprised. Here's my ColourPop 4 pans, and I don't know, like, I don't use these, but at the same time, I like having them. And I say I don't use these. I have used these. I just feel like I make myself reach for these in lieu of reaching for a bigger palette that I could be. So here, I have 8 of these. I have this one, which is Pisces in the Sky. This one is Tender Loving Cancer. This is like a Virgo. Just keep putting my finger in shadows. Helen, why don't you? Head Capricorn in charge. Never Tore Us Apart. Crystal Clear Aquarius. So those are all from the Zodiac collection. And then these two are from like, this is Set on Sapphire. And this one is, I think, an Emerald Away. Yeah, an Emerald Away. So, yeah, I have these. I like to use these when I travel. I just haven't traveled much recently. My only deal is, like, I'm afraid I will again in the future. And I don't have a single other palette. I would be okay if it broke or if I lost it. So I think I'm going to keep these because I can get a variety of looks. And if I go on no trips at all in the next year, I'll probably look at decluttering these. It's just, again, these are a good formula. And I don't care if they get broken or lost or messed up. They're small and easy. And I don't travel often, but when I do, I don't want to risk taking, well, I mean, like a palette I paid a bunch of money for, or that I can't easily replace. I don't want to risk it getting lost or broken if I, travel. So I think I'm going to keep these another year. And I'll reevaluate if I don't use these or go anywhere. I might parcel this down, but I feel like all of these are fairly unique to each other as well. So I'm going to keep all 8 of those. All right, so we're getting down to like having to make some hard decisions, and I don't like making hard decisions. But I think it's time. I have kept these Odin's Eye 5-6 pan, however you want to look at them. They have the split pan, so like it's 5 pans, 6 shades. And I have kept these because I don't want to like split up anything. And I do like these. I feel like they're fairly unique in my collection. I just don't remember to reach for them. Let's take a look at all of them. So these are from the Elva collection, the Elva 2 collection. This is the Mini Ocean. We have the Mini Sky and the Mini Forest here. So let's look at these first. So I know for sure I want to keep the forest one. I love this, and I have used it several times this year alone. Little Deer is the most perfect brown in all of my collection. I love Mint in Forest Bright, and Shine is such a beautiful blue. I really like both of the colors offered in here. Not all of the ones in the split pan are good quality, but the green one specifically in this one, which is called Greenery, is actually, it's good. It's very good. And this is a unique color story, so I'm going to keep this one. But I think I'm going to get rid of both of the Mini Sky and the Mini Ocean. I don't use these color stories specifically. There's nothing wrong. It's just this one's too warm toned for me. And this one, like, I don't like either of these two shimmers. They're just kind of like this flat satin matte that are really thick and chunky. I don't like this orange. This blue is fine. And these two, they're toppers. They're nothing to write home about. So I'm going to declutter that one. And I'm going to declutter this one. So that's 2 of those, which again pains me. I don't like to get rid of things that come in 3, but I am going to declutter the Verdandi. So these are from the Norns collection. This is Erd, which is this beautiful green. I'm keeping that one. And then this one is the Skuld, which is this all shimmer beauty. And then this Verdandi one is just warm toned. And there's nothing wrong with it. I actually really like Everyday. It's warm toned. These aren't colors I'm going to use at all. These two are actually really stunning. These are really, really good. But again, I'm not going to keep I'm not going to use this. I haven't used it. I've never used this. Outside of maybe I've used these two. I'm not going to use it. So I'm going to get rid of it. But that also means I'm still keeping 3. So I'm going to keep these 3 specifically. And I think that, that it was just time. It was just time. No more keeping things just to keep them. And then this is hard. This is the Bare Minerals Aurora Lights palette. I've had this for years. I think I had 3 of these. I fully panned one, like I used it up. I gave the other one away, and then I have this one still. It's just so old. And I don't use it, but I hate to get rid of it. Because it's still good. I have used it this year, and these shades are just, like, these purples specifically are just so stunning. But I don't know. I think I'm ready to get rid of it. I think it's time. I'm gonna declutter this as well. And then our last little stack of dudes here. I'm gonna get those out of the way. I'm gonna do, these are my Blend Bunny palettes. I'm gonna keep these, I think. So the Lure, that's a keep. This is new to my collection, and I really love this one. I really like the shimmers in this. I think these are like probably the best formula of shimmers Blend Bunny has done, so I'm going to keep it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. And I really like all of the shades here, which I don't feel that way about a lot of their palettes. So I'm gonna keep the Lure. This is the Primal. I panic bought it because it was going out of stock, and I really am drawn to these 2 rows, but I kind of regret it now, and so I think I'm going to declutter it. I'm not going to use these 3 rows at all. I'm not really going to reach for these shades of green. I hate the shimmers in this. I don't think they're very good at all. And I'm not going to use a giant pan of black or white ever. Like, that's never going to happen. I'm not that person. I understand why they were included in this palette, but I'm not that person. I hate to let go of these 2 specifically, but I think I have those tones in other palettes. And in all honesty, I've done a swatch comparison video with the Odin's Eye, or with the Blend Bunny palettes that I have, and I'm just not impressed with how much similarity there is amongst the palettes. So I think even amongst the other Blend Bunny palettes I have these shades, and again, I don't like the shimmers here. And they said that they might release something similar to this again in the future, and so I might just look for that, but if not, I know I'm not going to I'm not reaching for half this palette. I don't know why I got it. I have no idea what's wrong with me. So that is a declutter. But the Dollhouse I'm keeping. This is my giant, mega, awesome, kind of neutral palette with some pops of prettiness. And I'm not crazy about like the darker shimmers, but they're okay. They're good. I love these shimmers on the top row and this pink little sister. I think they're absolutely stunning. I even love Chantilly. That's a pretty gold green. I like this palette. I like the undertones of these neutral colors. I like how unique the idea is of, you know, like having the blend row. I like that. I like it a lot. It's the thing that draws me to Blend Bunny. And then the Surge, also the same. This is a unique palette in my collection. I don't have other like UV neon colors. I love this shimmer flash. It's beautiful. I even like the shades here. Like, this is very similar to this row in the Primal palette. So yeah, I hate to let this indigo row go, like that's kind of indigo and periwinkle, but I have those colors elsewhere. And these shimmers are good. Like, they're not the best, but they're good. Yeah, I like the Surge. I like the Surge a lot. And then this one, which is the Rick and Morty from Glamlight. This is huge, humongous. The quality of this packaging, though, is stunning. The colors are beautiful. I don't like the shimmers as much. They are very slippy and kind of wet, which isn't bad, but I have very hooded eyes, so it just means that they slip around quite a lot on my eyes. I don't use these 3 oranges, but, you know, if there's only 3 shades in this palette, I'm not going to reach for. I may or may not reach for the pinks, but these days I've actually been kind of leaning towards pink a little bit. So I don't know. I like this palette enough to keep it. I feel like this offers some very interesting colors into my collection, especially like matte shades. So I'm going to keep this one as well. And okay, the last ones. I am going to declutter all 3 of my Cosmic Brushes or Cosmic Beauty palettes. So this is the Delicious Delights. I don't know. I have pastels and other palettes. I'm not crazy about the shimmer formula. I don't like that Sprinkles, which is the special shade in this palette, can't really be used with the other colors. It's just too dark of a shimmer to use with such pastel mattes. It just, for me personally, that just does not work. That wasn't a creative decision that my eyes agreed with, and I just don't get on with this formula very well. Not the mattes, not really the shimmers. I have things that are specialer, that perform better in other palettes that I would prefer to make space for than keeping a palette that I know I'm not going to reach for very often. The same with the Serenity. I actually really kind of, I don't know, was disappointed because this palette seemed more like purple blue online and like in photos, and it's very like dark, heavy. Like it has a lot of like green in it and like kind of like these warmer tones that I find odd for what the color story is supposed to be. I like the formula in this one a little bit better than in the other two palettes, but I don't even really like the shimmers. Like Ether is probably the prettiest shimmer in all three of these palettes, and I have this color in other palettes. So I'm gonna pass that one along too. And then the Muse, which is the saddest one because that's why I bought any of these palettes at all. I really thought I would like this. This is a very grungy, swampy, what did I call, like, this is like a Shrek color story, or like a Princess and the Frog color story, like very green, froggy, swampy with some pink and purple. I don't think this makes sense together. These two pinks are redundant. Like, a lot of this is redundant. We didn't need this much same, and in this palette, the colors don't really work or go well together, in my opinion. Not for me personally. I don't like the shimmers in this palette. I don't think they're good. And what's the point of having shimmers in a palette that are not, like, Ambiance probably, like, the best performing, and it's still not that impressive. So yeah, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let these go. I'm gonna let it go and know that Cosmic Brushes, Cosmic Beauty, they're not for me. I learned a lesson. For one, buy one palette at a time from a brand you've never used before and not, like, all of them, because then you don't have to be disappointed. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to be keeping 44 palettes and decluttering 18. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. That's a pretty good ratio in my opinion. That's about, I don't know, a third of my collection. And it's back down to kind of a manageable number. I have some more palettes that I have ordered that should be coming soon, so of course those will add to my tally, but I don't have those yet, and I haven't used them to know if I'm going to be keeping them. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Watch my other declutter videos if you're interested what else I have in my collection. And I will see you in the next one.